So yeah, I'm Alex. I work at a record label in London, independent record label called Ninja Tune. Um, I've been at Ninja for nearly 10 years now. Um, I'm a head of physical sales, and I also label manage or co-label manage one of the sub-labels, Big Data. Um, and I started off at Ninja, so I guess before that, I interned at a bunch of places. I think whilst I was on my college course, no, my uni. Well, actually, while I was at a college course, I was writing at some music magazines, and then I went and interned at a label in Brighton, in Fat Cat, for like a year and a bit. Interned at a distributor called Republic of Music for a bit. Did some running at the Great Escape Festival. Then I moved up to London and interned at Domino Records for a bit, and then got to the point where I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get a real job. Just to be an intern for years. But I got very lucky, that job come up at Ninja, which was obviously a bit of a dream, which was really lovely. And I got to go meet with them. And it definitely paid off, having done quite a lot of years of internships, because I found that the skills that you need to smash a degree are not always the skills that you need to work in a label. Um, they, and you can kind of come top of a class or get really great results, which is awesome, but it is a really different mindset and skill set, and I found pairing them two together was really what was the most powerful contextualization of, like, oh, I'm actually going to go and work somewhere, like sit in a room full of people who really know what they're doing, and they're just so knowledgeable. And so I think I had a lot of learning to do outside of the classroom, and doing those internships for over a couple of years really helped me, because I was so green. I really didn't know that much outside of the classroom. And then I got the opportunity to go and work at Ninja, and I started off in the digital team, which 10 years ago was anything that lived online. That was from uploading things to SoundCloud to writing tweets, and then digital distribution, which is getting the music onto iTunes, Spotify, and Deezer, and all what we call DSPs, digital service providers. So getting it onto those places and out. And thankfully, I've done a little bit of that stuff at Domino and some other places, and writing newsletters. And now what is considered digital is much different. We have dedicated teams working on streaming, dedicated teams working on social media, dedicated. So it's really changed a lot in terms of the dynamism of what is considered sort of digital. So yeah, I got into started doing that, and then over the last few years, I transitioned into working in physical sales, which basically means and creative marketing. So that means working on the campaigns when they come in, on a creative sense, like, well, how do we want to present this record to the world? Do we want to do some cool websites? Do we want to do some poster campaigns? All that sort of stuff. And then I basically get to go talk to the record shops and be like, hey, we've got this record coming. Would you be up for taking it, stocking it, promoting it, and just all those kind of conversations? So, if you go to Brighton, you go to Resident, we're really good buddies of them. They'll have their posters in the windows. That's all comes from these kind of discussions and working out with them. How can we support a record? And they're obviously wicked and super supportive. So that's my general day to day. In addition to that, like I said, I label manage Big Data, which is a really important project. I think I won't spend too much time on it, but I thought it'd be, if it's cool to mention it. So Big Data is a label that started in '97 at Ninja Tune as a sub-label, and we relaunched it this year, starting discussions last August to be a label run by exclusively Black, ethnic minority and POC members of the Ninja Tune staff, for Black, ethnic minority, POC artists, as a way to not only create some addressing certain kind of structural questions that the whole industry is having, but to put Black, ethnic minority, POC staff in decision-making positions and create some a genuine upward mobility, so that the older, more senior members of staff can start to mentor some of the younger members in day-to-day campaign stuff, and you can start to have impacts there and grow your career in those ways. So I won't spend obviously lots of time. I know that wasn't the question, but I thought I'd like to mention that because it's an initiative that's super important, I think, in music, to start to address where some of the shortcomings are in that we don't have a lot of representation up at the senior levels of in diversity sense, and that's something that we've been working a lot on.
Let's talk about your time at Eastbourne campus studying the FDA music. What was it about the course that attracted you to it? Why did you want to study it?
I've always been really lucky that I kind of knew I had a passion. I know it sounds like a throwaway comment, but you take it for granted if you go out with hobbies, I think. Maybe I got quite fortuitous that my parents were pretty supportive, like, oh, you want to do music, you should take guitar lessons, or you want to play football, you should go and do football, join a football club or whatever, because, you know, the older you get, you realize not everyone had that kind of encouragement, which can allow you to develop hobbies and passions. So I was like, I want to do music. It was pretty naive to it. It wasn't like I hadn't thought about a career or anything. I was just like, I like music. I like playing music. I should do a music course. I grew up in Bexhill, and I desperately wanted to leave. To be honest, no, you know, not to throw too much shade at Bexhill, but when you go up somewhere, you get excited about going somewhere else. And at that age, Eastbourne felt like a big jump for me. So I was definitely excited to go to a different course to everyone else from my school. I wanted to meet a load of new people, and as a town, it was one that was quite exciting for me. I went to the college and it didn't feel nothing like school. I hated school, and it didn't feel like school. So that's what excited me. I felt like, oh, I'm stepping into. I'm sure the campus is pretty different now to when I went, maybe. But when I went, I was like, wow, you know, there's studios, there's people of a variety of age groups. That's what I found quite nice. I was one of the younger people, sort of. There was people who were much older who were doing the courses, and actually I found that really cool because you learn a lot from people who've just sort of gone back and decided to go to college rather than feeling like it's the next thing they should do. And when those people are in and around you that have made the decision, I'm going to go and do a college course, they've got that drive to do that. That rubs off. And I just find it pretty thrilling and exciting, to be honest, to be in a campus and to be in and around studios. So I was sold on going. When I went and walked around, I was like, yep, this feels like a place. I mean, we talked about it a little bit off before you were recording, that you go around a place and you get the energy, and it feels very, I want to say I thought about it more, but it was very intangible. I was like, oh, this feels good. This feels right.
So what was it like at Eastbourne? What was the studios like? I mean, I think we've got 8 studios now, so it might be the same as when you were there. What was the teaching like, and what kind of things did you learn over the 2 years?
So I'm trying to rack my brains to how many studios there was. Honestly, I can't remember, but I think it's probably a bit different now, because I think when I left, they were in the process of some upgrades anyway. They had like 2 Pro Tools studios and some other older ones. But I mean, it taught me at its most fundamental everything I know about how to use Logic. So I don't know if this is just going out to music people, but essentially how to use the recording software, which gave me the foundation to go on and do my own recording work. So I also am a musician as well and record records. So it gave me that foundation. I came from zero knowledge. I didn't even know how to use a Mac. I didn't even know I don't think I even knew what a Mac was. I just had a PC in my house. We went there. I learned how to use Apple software. I learned how to use some recording equipment just on your computer, as well as the desks. But at its very core, it opened that door for me to become independent, in the sense, as soon as I knew how to record on a laptop, that was it. I think that's possibly the most valuable thing, not to reduce it down in any other areas, but I think in getting to learn how to use that, it's kind of like, boom, I just grew another limb. And now I know how to use Logic. Now I know how to use this. And those lessons were wicked. They were super direct. And I've always found through my years of doing different music courses, the modules that are really specific have actually been the most useful to me, because I think so much stuff in the creative arts is not easy to boil down and push through an academic framework in a way that relates to any kind of real world scenario, and can be sort of either philosophical or kind of conceptual. And I think the two strands that work so well for me are when it's either just core knowledge, we're going to teach you like a practical skill, that's how to use this bit of software. It's kind of, so I'm leaving with a tool. And the other side, which was good, is the flexibility to just have essentially a few years of being free creatively without that pressure, which I think you maybe appreciate more when you've left. Maybe not everyone, maybe just talking for myself, but I could wander around and book a studio anytime and go do some recording. And that benefit in that is the other side to what I think works well in creative courses, is that ability to don't think about your career right now, but just think about spending these years developing your artistic mind and developing things that you love and you want to do, developing your skills. I think we live in an environment and an era where there is so much emphasis on productivity and being productive, showing all the things you've done, and the romance and importance of development is lost a little bit, especially heightened in social media. When you see a finished article, you assume everything starts and finishes a finished article, and development can be overlooked. When I think if you sort of lean into the joy of development, then you'll get a lot out of the courses. And the fact that I can just wander around, book a studio, that was always quite nice to me. And I think my favorite spot was always in the what's it called, the bit outside the studios where the technicians were, because I felt like you'll chat to the technicians, and I don't know if the same ones are still there than when I was there, generally have a lot of time to chat to me about, like, what does this cable do, what does that cable do. I always found it really difficult learning in an environment that I didn't feel like it was related to the world I was in. What I mean by that is, in a classroom is not a room that I would excel in, but if I was in a room where I would be doing the thing that I would be practicing, so in a studio, it all sort of made sense to me. So I could ask the right questions sometimes. So having that just on your doorstep, the facilities were really, really good.